When you consider all the skills a general must master, Sun Tzu tells us that tactical maneuvering is by far the most difficult. We're not just talking about moving troops from point A to point B. No, this is a complex dance, a mixture of deception, logistics, and psychology, where a single misstep can lead to absolute disaster. Today, we're diving deep into the heart of this challenge, Chapter 7 of The Art of War.
Right here, this is the central paradox of the entire chapter. Think about that for a second. Turning the devious into the direct. What does that even mean? It means the obvious path, the straight line, is almost always a trap. True victory, lasting victory, is found by taking what looks like the long, winding, difficult route, and through pure cunning and speed, making it the fastest way to your objective. It's about taking a clear disadvantage and turning it into your single greatest strength.
So, Sun Tzu has a name for this core concept. He calls it the artifice of deviation. And let's be clear, this isn't just about taking a different path for the sake of it. It is a deliberate, carefully calculated strategy designed to lull your enemy into a completely false sense of security, while you move to seize the one position that will decide the entire battle.
And here's the crucial part, the real genius of it. You make the enemy believe you are far away, moving slowly, struggling on some impossible road. You actually deceive them into becoming complacent, maybe even arrogant, and it's in that precise moment of their negligence that you strike with lightning speed. You dangle a bait to distract them, and even though you started your march after they did, you somehow arrive at the goal first.
Now, this isn't just theory. We have a perfect historical example with General Cao Shi. He had to relieve a city that was under siege. So what did he do? For 28 days, he played slow, building fortifications, making it look like he was digging in for the long haul. The enemy spies reported this, and their guard went down. The moment they were gone, he forced-marched his troops for 2 days and a night straight, seizing the critical high ground. The result? A complete rout of a totally surprised army. That right there is the artifice of deviation executed to perfection.
But, and this is a massive but, this strategy of speed carries an enormous, almost unthinkable risk. A forced march is a brutal grinding ordeal that can literally destroy an army before it even lays eyes on the enemy. And Sun Tzu, being Sun Tzu, gives us a chillingly precise mathematical breakdown of exactly what those costs are. Just look at this statistic. A forced march of 100 li, that's about 30 miles, to try and gain an advantage will cost you almost everything. Only 1/10 of your soldiers, the absolute fittest, can be expected to even arrive. Your army, for all practical purposes, ceases to exist. Your commanders are probably captured, and your strongest men are completely spent.
Okay, so what if you have the distance? Let's say you march 50 po lead. This situation is still catastrophic. You will lose the leader of your vanguard, your point man, and only half of your force will even make it to the destination. An army showing up at 50% strength is not an army ready for victory. It's an army ripe for defeat. Even a 30 march, which sounds much more reasonable, is still going to cost you 1/3 of your army if it's a forced maneuver. The math here is cold and it is unforgiving. Speed has a price, and that price is paid in the exhaustion and the loss of your own men.
So all of these numbers illustrate a fundamental, non-negotiable point. The march is only one part of the battle. An army simply cannot sacrifice its supply lines for the sake of speed. Without its baggage train, without provisions, without supply bases, it is already lost. Logistics aren't some secondary concern you figure out later. Logistics are everything.
All right, so we've covered the brutal physical realities of the march. Now, Sun Tzu pivots to the psychological battlefield, because a truly great general understands that an army's morale, its spirit, is a tangible thing. It's a weapon that can be targeted, weakened, and ultimately broken, just like a physical line of defense.
This is such a powerful idea. You can literally steal an army's will to fight. The classic story to illustrate this comes from the commentator Cao Kui. He observed that an army's fighting spirit is at its absolute peak on the first drumroll of battle. It starts to fade on the second, and by the third, it's pretty much gone. So what did he do? He waited. He let the enemy beat their drums 3 times until their spirit was exhausted, and only then did he attack with fresh, eager troops. He wasn't just fighting their bodies, he was attacking their spirit. So this whole art of studying moods really comes down to this simple, vital comparison. You avoid an enemy when their spirit is keen, in the morning when their banners are perfect and their formation is confident. You attack when their spirit is sluggish and dull, in the evening when their banners are in disarray and their troops are hungry, tired, and struggling. It is all about striking at the precise moment of psychological weakness.
Alright, so after covering grand strategy and morale, Sun Tzu brings it all home. He gives us concrete, actionable rules for tactical execution. This is where the high-level theory becomes battlefield practice.
First, your rapidity should be like the wind. Now, this doesn't just mean be fast. It means be swift, yes, but also be invisible. Leave no tracks. Your movements have to be sudden, decisive, and fundamentally unreadable to your opponent. Second, your compactness should be like the forest. This is about maintaining an impenetrable order and density in your ranks. This isn't a chaotic, wild rush. It's a disciplined, solid formation that's completely impervious to surprise attacks.
Third, in raiding and plundering, be like fire. This demands a terrifying, all-consuming ferocity. When you strike, your attack must be an unstoppable force that just overwhelms and consumes everything and everyone in its path.
And finally, your immovability must be like a mountain. When you're holding a defensive position, you are steadfast, unshakable. The enemy should literally break themselves upon your lines, completely unable to dislodge you.
And here we have the final axioms, the absolute do's and don'ts of engagement. Some of these seem obvious, right? Like, don't attack an enemy that's uphill from you. But others are much more subtle. Think about this one. When you surround an army, leave an outlet free. Why? Because it prevents them from fighting with the terrifying savage courage of absolute despair. Not pressing a desperate foe too hard avoids the disproportionate damage a cornered animal can inflict. These are rules born from a deep, deep understanding of human nature under pressure.
Ultimately, this entire chapter is about perspective. It teaches us to see the long, hard road not as a problem, but as an opportunity for deception and surprise. It's about having the wisdom to know that misfortune can, in fact, be turned into gain. So the final question isn't just for generals on a battlefield, it's for all of us. When you face that difficult, devious path, where is the hidden advantage? Where is your direct route to victory?